we're gonna talk about her testimony a little bit and like my role as a friend throughout her testimony and how that affected her relationship with God and kind of like her struggles.
From this video, we hope that you guys get inspired to talk about Jesus in your friendships.
So just talking about friendships,
yeah,
and like how
exactly.
that impacts people coming to Jesus.
Also, if you are a Christian and you are feeling discouraged, I hope that this shows you that God is just so real, and people like who you think that really would never become a Christian, they can become a Christian, and then I feel like that's something that really can just strengthen a person's faith. So to start, before I really gave my life to Jesus, I grew up in a Catholic faith. My mom is pretty Catholic. She works with the priests. I never really had a faith of my own. Went with the flow for a while. God wasn't really super real, but he wasn't like not real, you know. But I learned a lot, like from CCD. I went to mass and stuff, so I knew who Jesus was. But last year, I started to question the existence of God, or the historical accuracy of Jesus, and just the reality of Christianity, whether or not it was true, I guess. I saw like a lot of contradictions in the faith before. I think that really drew me away.
It's like at the time when she started questioning, I guess a little bit before that was the time in my life that my faith really became real to me. By the time she started questioning her faith, I was pretty solid in God, and I was like, I know you're real. How are we gonna spread you with people? Me starting to even feel comfortable with telling people that I was a Christian. So then, like, it kind of lined up for one of the times.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because at one point I was like, oh, I don't even care about God. I don't want to know him. But then, obviously, God worked, and then...
His timing is so perfect. I had gone to youth group with her before. She was sharing her faith a lot with me. I was asking her a lot of questions. We had a lot of healthy discussions. It was never really, like, I was being hostile toward you, I don't think.
Would you say, like, as you started your, like, faith journey, like, and you started experimenting with my church, you were more, like, open to it?
Yeah, I'd say, so I think this is what happened. Like, I don't really have that much recollection of me before, which is really interesting.
Before you came to Christ?
Yeah. Before, I was kind of just going to youth group with you. I wasn't really sure about God. I never really, like, felt his presence. I never really knew if he was really real or not, but I wasn't, like, against him or anything like that. I was just going to youth group, whatever. And
I was kind of like there's, like, food there, and it's a retreat. We're gonna go somewhere.
I would, like, sing.
Open minds, yeah.
Yeah, I would, like, sing with you guys. I would, I don't know, engage in conversations. But then, I think what changed for me was when we were at a worship night on the retreat, and you guys were all singing, like, the whole room was just singing. I was like, what if this is just to no one? You're, like, singing to no one. This is so terrifying. And, like, I felt so alone, and I felt, like, really, like, hopeless.
I felt like that before, and I started crying when I felt like that.
Yeah. I was like,
it was
what?
frustrating.
This is, like, people are just worshiping to nothing. That's so sad.
It's like, I don't even know how to pray. No, but mine was worse because it was a mission call. So it was like, stand up if you feel called to go here. Stand up if you feel called to be a mission.
No.
Everyone was standing up and worshiping, and I was just like, I don't know where to start reading my Bible. I cried to James and Valentina, they're our youth group leaders now. They were like, just start in Romans, baby. Y'all say. But anyway, sorry.
Anyways, no, that's so beautiful.
No, I just related to you on that. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, like, that was just, I think that was the first experience that I really, like, was, like, doubting God, doubting the existence of God, because I never really had to.
That's so crazy, during worship.
Yeah.
Because for me, it made me, like, want to seek him. But for you, it made you, like, so skeptical and even, like, angry. Like, why don't I feel this?
I don't know, the next night, me and this other girl, we were asking the youth pastor so many questions.
The same trip.
Yeah. The whole time I was kind of asking questions, like, after that experience. And I was, like, asking questions about science and, like, evolution and how these things, like, line up. Because I was in biology. Good. Yeah, and I think that is good to question that. But I was kind of questioning from a perspective of, like, this doesn't make sense. Like, it's not lining up. God, like, this is just, like, weird. How are you guys having so much faith right now? Even this kid, like, he's really smart, and he's, like, gonna be a nurse or something like that. He's very knowledgeable about science, and I was like, how do you believe in God if evolution, blah, 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 blah. And he was just so firm in what he was saying about Jesus, and I was like, this is weird. And so then, then I was like, and then I started to kind of doubt. I was kind of becoming a skeptic, and then I would, like, watch YouTube videos, like, watch debates, watch Bill Nye.
And you would come to me. Yeah, especially when we went on our trips, like, having those, like, 2 a.m., like, conversations, and she'd ask me, like, well, what about this? And I'd be like, hold on, let me go grab my Bible. Let me go grab my Bible. She's like, okay.
It's always the Bible with you, Naima.
I know, I literally was like, hold on, let me get my sword. interrogated me, although I was new with faith, and that was something that I think strengthened me and like made me also like kind of re-question, as me recognizing that where she was coming from and her place like kind of anger and skepticism, not like looking to seek God and to find the truth, but looking to disprove something that she didn't really understand. It was tough to like kind of learn how to talk to her, and like I had to get God's help so much and guidance, because I had to like talk to you with such gentleness but also equip myself with answers. Like when you asked me a question and I didn't know, I said, oh, that's a really good question, let me talk to my youth pastor about that. Oh, let me look that up, let's look for the answer together, let's look in the Bible. It's not like I knew everything. I tried my best to like give you answers, always saying like I'm still new, I don't know everything, but here's what I can give you and here's where I can point you.
Yeah, and I think that humility you had, and like you were just so humble about it, like you weren't prideful at all, I feel like. And I think that just pointed me honestly toward God, because it made me like, wow, she's just not even prideful about this. Like she still like believes in this without knowing all the answers, and she's not acting like she does. And I think that having that humble spirit and just coming to your friends with like just putting yourself down and like knowing that they're just struggling with something that you might not be able to understand, but you have the truth. And just like conveying that in a way that's like respecting them, I guess, and not being angry that they don't know,
but still bringing up the truth.
Exactly.
Did you ever feel like I was pushing it down your throat?
No, honestly, I don't think so. I would sometimes get mad at you and like talk about you behind your back, because for instance, if I was like, I wanted to do something with a boy, and then I would ask you for advice. I knew what your advice was gonna be, and like I didn't, like why was I asking your advice? I didn't even believe in God. But I think I just knew that God was real and I just didn't want to accept it. And then you would give me advice.
That's the thing that I'm a firm believer on. Like if you're gonna give advice to someone and you are a Christian, you can say, I know you don't believe in God, but the only advice I can give you right now is this. I tried to say, I understand you don't believe in God, like this is what I would do. Like she would ask me what I would do too a lot of the times, which was like, oh,
I don't know why I would.
I don't know. Did that build you up for something? Or like, what do you think?
I think that you always just giving me the truth. Like, even though it led me away for a while, it led me to Christianity and like what it really is. Because I think that if you make up some version of it to sugarcoat it, I guess, or to not really give the full truth, to be like, no, it's fine, then you're gonna lead people to like a false version of it.
That's huge.
And I think that if I didn't know the truth, like obviously I was angry because I wanted to do all these things, you know, that I wasn't able to do.
Things.
But I think you need to go through those stages of being angry at the truth, and then you come to the truth, but you have to come to the truth. You can't come to like some lie. Like
when you came to Christ, I think that might have set the stage. Praise God for that. Like when you gave your life to Christ, it was so amazing because you knew what you were getting into. You read you knew what you needed to give up. You knew what that meant. You knew what accepting Jesus meant. You know what dying to yourself meant. So that's why I think it took you a while to come to actually accepting God. And it took me a while too. Like you were seeking for like a year. Yeah. Or how long? Maybe a little more?
Yeah, I think it was like a little bit less than a year.
A little less than a year, and most of that was angry skepticism.
Yeah, and I'd say that a lot of it came from a place of like wanting to know the truth. And even though it might have like also like it was definitely a lot of anger and like a lot of me wanting to just go and do whatever I want and to kind of forget about this God idea and just to like be my own God. I think that it was a lot of like me doubting, and like I think that science is the truth. And also like I don't know, there's a verse in 1 Corinthians and it's talking about how the natural person doesn't understand like the supernatural at all, or doesn't, like, if you're solely natural, you'll understand natural things. And I think that was just like I was a very good example of that. I only understood like science and evolution as like our way of coming into existence, because the supernatural wasn't really an option, I guess.
And you were never satisfied with the answers that I gave you. We were never satisfied with any answers. At some point, I had to give it to God. Admit I didn't have the answers, because you're not going to know everything when you're in a relationship with Jesus, and say, I don't know all the answers and I never will. And that was so difficult for you to do.
Yeah.
Especially from that, like, science. Like, I need all the facts right here in front of my face. Whatever I can't see is not true.
I guess just the fact that Naima was always just open to having these conversations. She was always so, I guess, committed to it. And like what you were saying before, like, you would set me up on like FaceTime calls with your youth pastor. She was just always so open to having conversations and so willing to. And I think that that's just, it was a really big part of me, like, having a really good understanding of Christianity and coming to Jesus, because I just really was like very aware of what I was getting myself into, and I had a lot of resources.
But you also were not lazy. Like, I think a lot of people can get lazy with it and be like, oh, that doesn't seem true, so let me just not be a Christian.
Yeah.
Like, you really, really searched.
I think that's because, like, I had the idea in my head of, like, there is a reality. Whether it's evolution, whether it's Christianity, whether it's some other religion, I guess. Like, there is a truth. And I think that once I had that idea, I was like, I need to know something. Like, I can't just keep living my life without knowing anything.
Because there's no backbone.
Yeah, well, it's like you know what's going on in the world. Like, if, like, when I was seeking, it was like, is evolution true? Like, am I really just here, just, like, randomly? But I think that once you get the idea that there's some sort of truth out there, like, you can't deny that. It's not just my truth, not just your truth. There's a truth to our existence. Whether it's science, whether it's something we don't know, whether it's Christianity. Like, if you think about it, that's true. Once you have that idea in your head, it's kind of hard to just be complacent.
When was the shift for you? When were you like, okay, wait a minute, this might be true?
Well, I think it was honestly not even like that for a while, because I think that my hostility, my skepticism kind of just like simmered away and just kind of faded. And then I started...
Because you were tired of looking. Is it
yeah, honestly, I don't even know.
You were tired of fighting God.
Yeah.
You were ready to accept him.
Yeah, and then I just started going to youth group with you like twice. Like 2 weeks before I gave my life to Jesus, I bought a Bible for no reason.
Oh my gosh. So it's a Christian store. It was like, hey Ma, I think I want to buy a Bible. And I was like, wait, what?
That was purely God. I don't even know why I did that. There's no reason.
I was like, I wasn't like pushing it. Like, she knew all she needed to know. I wasn't going to be like, hey, what are you doing still? Like, no, I was just praying. I was loving her. I was just, that's all it was. And then God worked and, oh, want to buy a Bible? And it was like $50. And then she was like, that's really expensive. And I was like, you're going to be using this for a while. Like, this is a really good investment. And you're like, oh, maybe I should.
I know I do, so...
I like remember telling Amber and Grace, like, okay, I stopped like talking to you, but I lost hope for you.
I know, that actually makes me kind of sad.
It does make me sad too. But I was like, okay, this girl is just always questioning. I can't keep up with her. I'll keep praying for you, because not praying is a sign of
losing faith in God.
Losing faith. So I was like, okay, I won't stop praying. I won't. During the summer even, I felt like we were like kind of drifting apart a little bit. She was doing stuff and I wanted to do stuff that she was doing. And then I felt like I was kind of getting like pulled and like having these other desires that I didn't want to have. So it's like, I don't know if I can be friends with her anymore. Like, God, like, am I going to have to give this friendship up? And so,
he's like, nah.
Yeah, and even like that weekend in Maine, I was debating whether or not I should go.
Really?
Because I knew I was going with 3 non-Christians. At one point, I had to check myself and talk to God about, like, am I going to go there and share the gospel and still be firm in my faith and be able to do that without, like, trying what they're going to do, or without swearing, or without doing this or this? Or am I going to kind of struggle with that? Like, I have to know the line and know my limit. And then the Bible happened.
Not to say you can't be around non-Christians or that they're any less at all. I just had to evaluate where my heart was at the time and what it was desiring, because my goal as a Christian is to please God and glorify Him above all else.
Also, something interesting I was telling you today at the beach. Like a month before I became a Christian, I had my first like real anxiety attack, and it was really terrible. I wasn't really grounded. I was kind of just living, like doing tasks day by day. And then I had another anxiety attack that birthday weekend, actually. It was like I couldn't breathe and I was just like sobbing and like I thought I was choking, and it was just really bad. They were all praying for me and I was just kind of like, okay.
Will you pray for her?
Oh my gosh. Also, Grace, remember when we had that dinner with me, you and Grace, and you guys, like, we all prayed together?
Yes.
I think at this point I was just not hostile.
At this point I was like, Cecilia, I'm not walking on eggshells right now. We're praying.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pray, you don't have to.
And I wasn't like angry about it.
No,
and I was like with you guys. I always thought that was really nice whenever you want to do that.
You accepted prayer, didn't you?
Yeah.
You always, I think that's really something a lot of people do. Like, other non-Christian people, they'll always accept prayer, which is really crazy.
And the major shift was when, again, randomly, I had gone to youth group twice, and I remember we had this like little paper, and it said like stretch your faith, and it was like this series that they were doing, and it had like all these boxes, and it was like, which ones do you want to do next? And I checked off follow Jesus. I think I was like, okay, I think that I'll just do this. I didn't really know what I was doing, you know? And I was like, I still don't really believe, like, I don't know. Like who knows,
okay,
really?
what now?
Yeah, and then I was listening to a Christian song. There was Jesus.
It's a really good one.
I was just listening to it, and I was just like sobbing. And I was like, what's going on right now? It was the Holy Spirit coming into me. It was like an incredible
and making
experience.
his big arrival.
Yes, and before this, I just viewed the world like product and evolution, just natural world, who knows. Right when I looked out the window after I like was sobbing and like kind of like praying, like worshiping, I don't even know. And then I just saw the world as God's creation, and it was like my eyes were just open, and like a veil was lifted over my eyes, and it was just like 360, 180 something. I think I texted you like the song, and then I called you. You're like, was that you giving your life to Jesus? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, oh my god.
Because I know Grace was talking to you more. Because at this point, like, our friend group kind of like got merged. She met what was my Christian friend. That friendship of like Amber, Grace, and I, which is in this vlog. Like, you can see us three. Like, that was definitely from God, us three. And then by that time I was like, oh, Cecilia, meet Grace. And then at that dinner you did, and she prayed for you. And it's like, oh, meet Amber. So you met her at retreats. And then Quinn, you knew Quinn the whole time because of Quinn and Clay at retreats and like everything, because they go to youth group too. That was also a huge part of it.
I think that God really just set up some beautiful friendships for me to just like step into. For
a while, you saw just me, I think.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, you're meeting all these new people that are also Christians. Just like, wait,
I want to get on this. The week after, I started like talking to my classmates about Jesus. No, I think it was like that week, because then in class, like, we were talking about something about religion, and I like spoke up about it. I feel like when you're, this might be bad. I feel like when you really are saved, you don't want to wait.
You don't want to wait.
Because it's like, it's not like you're slowly, gradually becoming saved. It's like you're saved.
There
like,
you go. No,
the Holy Spirit is in you. You believe in God now. It's, you have faith. You have faith, and then
you want to tell everyone.
Yeah, like this is the best news ever.
I think that's what makes it so powerful about like the kind of community you were around. You knew a huge part about being a Christian was sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
No one watered that down to you. Well, when you called me, I think I started crying. I just wanted you to go to heaven with me. Like, I wanted you to, not only heaven, but I wanted you to live your life like you were gonna go to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, with such freeness. Because I saw you seeking the world, and it like really hurt me. Like, to see you looking for things not in God, because I knew you weren't gonna get satisfied.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think I ever told you that. Like, when you were doing things.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, oh gosh.
Like, that's not the right path, honey.
Just turn around now, just straight yourself. I don't know, I feel like I've just been on this high, like, God really worked in you, and that was not me at all. Like, I was just your friend, and I was doing my part in my faith and my relationship with God, and God used that.
Yeah, and that's all He calls us to do.
That's literally all it was.
Or in the beginning, God gave me a lot of really powerful experiences of His presence. A lot of like really joyous moments that I could really tell were from God. Like, I would break down crying, and I just feel His presence. He just gave me so much to work with at the beginning. Like, faith was really strong, and then I went through like doubts, like speed seasons almost. I feel like my faith was really built quickly.
So even though you did come to Christ and you had your experiences, you still doubted, and that made your faith stronger. And I think I remember at one point you telling me, like, I doubted today. Like, you were frustrated with yourself, but doubting is a part of faith. This is like where I tell you, like, it's normal to doubt. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, the discipling is gonna always continue. I feel like for both of it, like, iron sharpens iron now.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Your friends, some advice. She never really forced anything. She invited me to things. She was just always
persistently invited.
Yeah, like, it wasn't just like a one-time thing and just like
I had her so
you
many
invited
times.
me a lot. Bringing it up a couple times, but not like pushing it in their face. Like, making it known, the truth known, and making it known to your friends that you are a Christian, and then they understand what's different about you. But then, like, letting them come to you in their times of need, I guess.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I felt it a responsibility for me to really live like Jesus. Like, because I knew you were watching me, and I knew if I like did something that you knew was not biblical, because although you were not reading the Bible, you knew what was right and what wasn't in God's eyes. Yeah. And you were like, Naima, why are you doing that? And I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this.
I remember like you were like starting to try a bit.
I don't know if we should say that. You were just say stuff.
We were starting to try stuff, and I was like, Naima, wait, is this a sin? You're like, I mean, yeah. Yeah. I also saw you like growing too, and it was like, it wasn't like you were just like this perfect person.
Yeah.
And like to be vulnerable with your people, like with your non-Christian friends too.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, like, I've been struggling with this.
Yeah.
And it's not right, and I'm working on it. Whenever I had, like, moments with God, or, like, kind of revelations in the Bible, or whenever, like, I finished a new book in the Bible, I would tell Cecilia, and I wouldn't hide that part of myself from her. When, like, she understood I was a Christian, she recognized how big that was in my life, and how that was my life. Because we were friends, we both had parts of our lives that we didn't really have in common or share those same interests, but we still love each other, and we still like listen to one another and like support each other.
Let me just tell you, if you really seek for the truth of your existence, you're going to come to God.
Yeah, moral of the story. We hope that this video has impacted you. If you're still watching, comment. Cecilia's social medias are going to be in the description. She goes on and off, so don't take it personal if she doesn't answer. I'm usually always on my social medias. It's been real. Thanks for talking to us and listening. I'd love to hear some of your testimonies, like your biggest moments.
If you don't feel like you kind of want to follow him, but you don't really believe yet, just really seek him. Read your Bible, go to a youth group, get engaged in some community. Alright.